Hi, it's Tim from AK Endless Sports Cards. So I decided to go on a little vacation prior to the National. And when I left Alaska, it was, high 50s temperature wise. I'm now here in North Grand Rapids. Originally, my total travel time was supposed to be about 8 hours. It ended up being like 15. I ended up going to bed till like 3:30 Eastern, which, was only 11:30 Alaska time, so wasn't that big of a deal. But it's hot. It's like 80 degrees here. But it's kind of nice to kind of come out here and thaw out a little bit more, as we've kind of had a cooler, rainy summer so far in Alaska. And so, as I've been out here, so I've had a streak going. I've done like 50 or 60 days in a row. I haven't kept exact track, but I've done 50 or 60 days in a row where I've done 3 to 4 mile walks every day. You just feel good getting out and walking, and just been in a really good routine. And so I've been wanting to continue that here. So that's what I'm doing. I'm out walking. And so I've been thinking about some goals that I've had in terms of, collecting sports cards. Been thinking, of course, more and more about the National. It's coming up here in just a few weeks. And so I wanted to start off by just talking about some goals. So one new goal that I've had since my goal video at the beginning of this year is to work on the 86-87 Fleer basketball set. If you watch my prior video, I sent in 25 86-87 Fleer cards. A lot of lower end, like commons, semi-stars, things like that. And I got 22 of them that came back out of 25 in 8s and 9s, which is what I was shooting for. So pretty happy about that. I've got the Jordan. So apparently I've got a fan back there. A dog barking at me. Excuse the dog. So I definitely want to add to that set. I might try to knock off a couple of the higher end ones that I don't have, like Barkley, Olajuwon, Malone, guys like that. Might knock some of those off at the National this year. But I definitely want to add some of those, and I want to use the art of the bundle. I want to buy these cards in groups. You tend to get better deals that way. You buy 5 or 6 cards from an individual or dealer, you're probably going to get a lot better deal than buying them, one at a time from various people. So that's on my list. I also want to pick up some Panini VIP sets. So when you go to the National, if you haven't been there, when you buy a VIP pass, you get VIP sets typically from Panini, Topps, Leaf. You get some other ones as well, Upper Deck. So I think that Victor Wembanyama is probably going to be in this year's Panini set. And so, like I said, I bought a VIP pass, so I'm guaranteed one set. I already arranged to trade for another set with a guy on the forum that I'm associated with, blow out for him, pick up a second one. I usually try to buy extras of the Panini sets. I usually pay $20-25 a piece. Definitely going to want to do that this year with Wembanyama. So if he's in there, if the cards look good, might get a couple of those graded. It could be great trade chips down the line value-wise. So I'm looking to do that. I'm also looking to pick up cards of some stars that I just never have. And when prices went crazy during COVID, it kind of woke me up to some things. It made me think that, man, some of these cards are now like borderline out of range. And now the prices for the most part have come back down. I thought, well, I need to go ahead and buy these. I'm not buying them because I think there's some sort of like great investment or anything. I'm buying them because I don't want them to get out of range again. And one of them is a pretty highly produced card, and that is the Ken Griffey Jr. 1989 Star Rookie. I want to get one of those in a 9. Probably looking at a PSA 9. Maybe a BGS 9.5. I know PSA 10s are a couple grand. That's more than I want to spend on a card where they produce like around 1 million of them. So it's not a hard card to find. It's just a matter of finding one in a grade that you're satisfied with and a card that looks good. There's a lot of 9s that look like 10s. So I'm okay with buying a 9 for, let's say, around a couple $100. I don't know exactly what they're going for. Last time I checked, they were in that range though. buy a bunch of other cards that I enjoy. Just have, you know, a lot more cards within my budget than that I can buy if I buy them in 9s instead of 10s. So looking for that. Also realized that I don't have any Jerry Rice rookies, and there's no real reason for that. You know, I mean, Jerry Rice, I don't know, is it an opinion that he's the greatest of all time receiver wise? Most people would tell you it's a fact. I guess ultimately it's an opinion, but all time great, I guess, my opinion. Greatest wide receiver of all time. I don't think it's particularly close personally, but I noticed 8.5s have come down quite a bit. They're in that $200 range, and so I was thinking, well, probably gonna pick up a couple of those. I saw that 9s are well over $1,000. I don't know, to me, I'd rather have a couple 8.5s for 180 or $200 a piece than 1 9 at $1,000 or more, you know. Again, I can just buy more cards for my collection. If I'm willing to take a grade that's a little bit lower, then I can add a lot more cards, you know, at the show. So I'm probably going to do that. Look for 8.5s. You know, I've also never owned a Gretzky. I'm not a big hockey guy, but I've passed on Wayne Gretzky rookies in the past for 100, 200, $300 for like lower grades. Not anymore. It's time to pick one up. I'm looking for like a 4 or 5. I'm looking for the tops. I know Peachy is more desirable for most people. I'm not really a fan of the fuzzy edges and fuzzy corners on that card. I guess if I can get one for a good deal, I would, but probably getting the tops. Looking to get a 4 or 5 Wayne Gretzky rookie. I think it's time. He's by far, statistically, the best scorer in the history of hockey when you add up the goals and assists. So it's not even close. If you've never looked at Wayne Gretzky's stats as an all-time points leader, take a look. You'll be amazed if you've never looked at it. He's pretty much head and shoulders at the top when you combine goals and assists. So looking at a Gretzky. Another card that I think is kind of underrated that I don't have is a Kevin Garnett Topps Finest rookie. So if you know about that particular year, mid-90s, they have them with and without the peel on the card. And I'd really like to get a Kevin Garnett Finest with the peel on it. I'd like to get it in a 9, maybe a 9.5. I gotta take a look at some BGS prices. But that's a card that I really want to get. It's pretty affordable. I think it's between $100 and $200. Again, I haven't checked lately. They change all the time. So sometimes I don't always know what the comps are. Well, it's because comps change, you know, in this hobby really fast. And so I always try to ballpark them at least, you know. I can get one in that $100, $200 range. Probably get a 9, maybe a BGS 9.5. Me personally, as a collector, I find pretty great value in BGS cards. Sometimes in 9s, sometimes in 9.5s versus PSA 10s and other PSA 9s. If you can get them at a discount, I usually try to. So, another card I'm looking for. So, shifting gears a little in terms of the National. I mentioned the VIP sets. I ordered some Topps Now Victor Wembanyama rookies. I ordered an 8-pack. They're the ones, they printed 72,000 of them. So it's a lot. But I think if he ends up being a superstar, 72,000 isn't terribly bad. It's the one where he's wearing a suit from draft night. So I ordered an 8-pack. I'll have those before I go to the National. If I got some that are in good gradable shape, if I think they're going to get PSA 10s, I'll probably bring them there to the National and drop them off to my group submitter. I think right now, group sub PSA, somewhere between 18 and 20 bucks. So, you know, 18, 20 bucks. Wembanyama cards are about $6 a piece, roughly. I don't know. To me, it seems like a good play, so to speak, to get those graded. Could be good future trade chips. Maybe sell them. I don't sell a ton of cards. And when I do, I typically go through consignment with PC Sports Cards in New York. Again, not affiliated with them, but I found them to be a great place to consign cards. So when I sell, I go through them. So if I got some that look good, probably get them graded. You know, if I get some 10s, kind of just decide at that point. We'll see if he turns out. People tend to think that Wembanyama is a sure thing. I guess there's ultimately no sure thing until people produce. So we'll see. I'm rooting for him though. Seems like a good enough guy. I think going to the Spurs was probably best case scenario for him, I'd imagine. So Wembanyama, Topps Now cards. Another thing that I haven't done that I'm gonna look to do this year. I say I haven't done it. I've only done it once or twice. I've only been to a trade night probably twice at the National. I'm looking to do that more this year. One, we usually have a hotel that's a little bit further from the convention center. We usually take a shuttle. This year we got one right across the street. So, got a great hotel, booked it really early. That's a tip too. If you're thinking about going to a future National, you gotta book those hotel rooms early. We've had those booked since November, maybe October, November. Whenever you could start booking them, we booked them. So I've had it for a long time. I think there's a trade night in my hotel. That was my point of that. So, you know, I'm bringing some cards that range between $3 and probably $250, $300. And if I bring them with and go home with them, that's fine. No big deal. You know, when you go to the National or you go to these trade nights, because I do go to trade night in Anchorage. We have one once a month or so. One of the first things you need to think about when you're negotiating at these types of events is you got to have the ability to walk. You know, if you don't find the trade that you want, or you know, and if you're selling something and you don't really get the price that you want, you got to have the ability to walk. You got to have the ability to just say, well, I'm not getting the price I want. Keep the card. You know, when you have to sell something or you feel like you have to trade something, you're not going to get the best deal. So, something to think about, that ability to walk. So, looking forward to the National. Going to be hitting a show in Lansing, Michigan. Beforehand, I think it's about a week before the National show. Before the National show, I should say. It's about a week before that show. Gonna hit that one. It's usually a pretty good show. If you're in the Michigan area or close by, if you've never been to that Lansing show, it's usually pretty good, and I definitely recommend it. So I'm gonna hit that too. Maybe pick up some other stuff. Can use to trade at the National, or maybe pick up some more rare stuff that I've been looking for. So, just some of my thoughts about some ever-changing goals and some thoughts about the upcoming 2023 National. Hope that everyone's July is off to a great start. Hey, one thing you always got to remember, the opportunities for collecting sports cards are endless.